We are live. What's up, everybody? How's everyone doing today? Just got the new shirt in. Guys, go to my merch store on YouTube. Got a couple styles, a black one, a white one. I'm waiting on my white hoodie. So, Swindler, if you represent the Swindler, Team Swindler, check it out. Wherever you are in the world, we up. Click that link. Become a member of our Discord. We're approaching 400 JSB insiders. You can either join on YouTube or on Patreon. It's a couple bucks a month. Whichever one you choose, you become part of our community. You also get access to our live streams. I have members-only live streams on the Patreon as well. So there's actually Patreon content that they get that YouTube JSB insiders don't get. I do these short little recap live streams at the end of the day. What else? There's 7. I've given you guys, how many tickets do we got up? I have posted 6. So there's 6 tickets that are live currently on the Patreon and on our YouTube insiders. We hit a ticket. We're already up. Guys, the weekend is over. We could go to bed. We could just watch the fights now with no stress. We hit a plus 550. Once again, I got overzealous and broke my own rule of putting multiple dogs on the same ticket, but this time it paid off. We did this in the on our live stream. I'll recap everybody. I appreciate everybody being here. I appreciate the support. Month after month, we are growing. You guys, we're getting to know each other more and more in terms of our styles, in terms of questions that you guys ask, and you guys know this is a team effort. I'm very open-minded to taking opinions, feedback on fights, on fighters, on even how we do this operation. There was a time where I didn't know how to use a second device, and now look what we're doing. Hold on, wait for it. Now look what we're doing. We know how to use second devices now. Let's get into this. Let me show you something real quick. All right, boys. So this was yesterday. I'm gonna play this. Real quick, and then I'm gonna give a shout out. Full transparency. In women's boxing, they're calling this a sort of crossroads, or not crossroad, passing the torch sort of fight. I'm not trying to talk you out of your bets. I'm just telling you where I'm putting my money. I want to see Chanel win, A, because I think she could do it, and B, for her career. So I have action on this card. 2-leg parlay. It pays plus 550. Chanel Dargan and then Marco Romeo. That's all it says. That's all I'm going to give you. And that was enough for me to take Romeo. So Romeo is a plus 275. So it's Australian domestic. I'm taking Romeo a plus 275. He's the A side, but he's the dog. I'm leaning on my source. My source is a boxer, fights in Australia. So there you go. If you want action, that's my action. I got Dargan. There we go. We're just covering our bases like we always do. We hit with Dargan and Romeo on the money line. We got it at plus 550. Let me show you something interesting real quick. Full transparency. While I was on my run yesterday morning, shout out to Nick from Breaking Bad. I told Nick, if he's watching this, I told him I would do this, and I'm a man of my word. You guys, the longer you're on our team, you'll know that I give credit when credit's due. This is a team affair. It's not just me. I don't sit here. It's just you see me because it's my channel. But the insider group, it's a team effort. So I'm running my I do road work since October of 2020. 6 years. I run 100 kilometers every month of outdoor miles. So it's a habit of mine, right? It's more like this samurai sort of thing. So I'm running my 5K yesterday, and Nick from Breaking Bad Boxing, he has my personal phone number. I only give my personal number out to, not a lot of people. And I'm running, and he messages me, and he goes, "Hey, Johnny, what you know about Marco Romeo?" He goes, I think he's live. And I go to BoxRec and I pull up Marco Romeo's BoxRec, right? There's two of them. All right, this is the Aussie. So this is the kid who. What are the chances yesterday that two Marco Romeos fought? Two. One in Australia. He main evented. There was another card yesterday. I'm trying to pull it up. And I turned to Nick. I go, dude, I'm not betting on this guy. This guy's like a domestic card in Kansas. What are the chances? No, that's our guy. Anyway, I reach out to one of my boys. He tells me, hey, Marco Rubio's his coach is the in charge of the judging on the card that happened last night. So shout out to Nick. He put me on to Marco Romeo allegedly being live. I reached out to our boy, and then during the live stream, we did this together, and both Chanel and Marco hit. So we are up. I want to give a shout out to the Discord real quick. And then we're going to get into all the tickets too. You guys should know by now, the first 10 minutes of these streams, you should know what to expect. So that was the card last night. I got some messages on this. So I told you, this is interesting, actually. This is actually a talking point. So I shared this yesterday on my Instagram story. That is Sugarcane Sandoval, right? I got messages like, "What do you mean? I thought you bet against Sugarcane Sandoval in his last fight." I'm confused. I go, "I did. I did." I was like, "That doesn't mean I'm not friends with him." That's when he fought Julian Rodriguez. I was like, I just feel like J-Rod was at 31 was just a little bit too big of a step up. I was like, that doesn't mean I'm not friends with Kane Sandoval. I've known Sugarcane for a few years via the internet sort of thing. So it's a talking point because like what we do here, boys, we bet with our wallet, not with our heart. Just because we bet against a fighter doesn't mean we don't know them. You guys expect me to tell you things super transparent. So I was actually shocked when I got some messages in my DMs about sharing this. They're like, "What do you mean you're excited to see him elevate?" I was like, "What are you talking about, dude? I am. Like, I think Kane Sandoval is an exciting young fighter. I think his style is fan friendly. Will he, retire a Hall of Famer? I don't know. But will I tune in every time Kane Sandoval fights? Of course." This one also I got some interesting messages, and I mean this. Shout out to TJ at Chilltown Boxing. Last time Chilltown was on my show, we debated Nick Flavs versus Tiger Johnson fight, and he asked me an important question. He goes, Johnny, it's on my wall actually. He goes, are you picking Tiger? Would you be picking Tiger if you weren't from Northeast Ohio? And I'm pretty sure I'm like, I don't know. It was a good question to ask. I'm a I always win money on Tiger Johnson, whether it was at 140 or 147. I mean what I said here. These are the welterweight rankings at 47. Devin Haney, Norman Jr., Stanionis, Ryan Garcia, Raleigh, Polanco, Giasov, Cordial, Catterall are all ranked above Tiger Johnson. I would take Tiger over Jack. I would take Tiger over Cordial. I would take Tiger over Giasov. Tiger and Polanco is a fun fight. Tiger and Rohan would be a fun fight. I think I would take Tiger over Raleigh. I would take Tiger. Tiger and Ryan Garcia is an interesting fight stylistically. I would take Tiger over Stanionis. And, my point is I wouldn't put Tiger at 10. And that's my point. Tiger runs through most of these folks. I would put Tiger in my top 5 at 47. 100%. Shout out to Chanel Dargan. Chanel Dargan at plus money was insane. We got Chanel at plus 210, I think, which is crazy. Chanel won by knockout. if this is the first time you've ever watched Chanel Dargan fight, this is who she is. Chanel Dargan fights like Arturo Gatti in terms of like all blood and guts. Like she is action packed. I hope they take Chanel internationally. This is a woman who fights like this every single fight. She doesn't have a perfect record, but she's still learning the game. All right, here we go. This is I always want to shout out our Discord. This is a community effort. Shout out to Z. Z says joined the Discord yesterday. Good pick, Johnny. Chanel, we got Chanel at plus 110. MMA Better says thanks, Johnny. He won MMA Better bets 650 to win 1,000. So shout out. This is what we do. This was yesterday on the live stream, and I kind of lose patience a bit with some of the boys who join. If you're new to the channel and you think that you're going to get all my bets just by like looking at the Patreon and just looking for my tickets, that's not how this works. Because we got 25 to 50 people in here. Sometimes there's 80 to 90 people in the live stream. They watch my live streams. So if you think that you could just join for $7 a month and not tune in, not tap in, not do any of your research and expect to get all the picks, that's not how this works, mate. This is a team effort. This is the voice note that we played on the live stream. This was from my insider info that I kept anonymous, who told us that I played this yesterday. You heard him say Marco Romero's coach is in charge of the judging. Now, thankfully, the judges, we didn't need the judges because Romero looked a level above, and he was a plus 300. So we played that on the live stream. Dargan, these are the boys coming through. Thank you, Johnny. My parlay is live. These underdogs picked. We up. So yeah, that was plus 550. So that's what we put together on the live yesterday. We did this together. We took Marco Romeo and Chanel Dargan on the same ticket plus 550. Now I only did half a unit. I didn't go full unit, full transparency. A lot of you guys are messaging me about sort of stylistically and strategy of betting. Any sort of domestic card. Last night was the Aussie domestic card. I'm going half unit. If your normal unit's 1,000, go 500. If your normal unit's $10, go $5. Just cut it in half. Whenever I have Aussie domestics, I go half unit. Whenever I go domestic heavyweights anywhere in the world, I go half unit. Whenever I go prospects, I go half unit. I'll usually go full unit or more on like a dog. Like my biggest bet this weekend, full transparency, is Navarrete on the money line in terms of how much money I'm putting on him. My biggest bet. Now it doesn't always work that way because I didn't go super heavy on Mario against Ryan, but I went heavy on Josh against Murtazaev, and then Figueroa on. I did half unit Figueroa on Nick Ball, but we still hit those. If you have questions on that, just keep asking. This is great promo. I want to play this because it's great promo. And my grandma always said, Johnny, if you don't help yourself, no one's gonna help you. So this is me helping myself. JSP Insiders, rest in peace, haters, says Johnny, the Dargan pick was solid. I still lost because I took by decision. This is a great talking point, by the way. So he says the Dargan pick was solid. I still lost because I took her by decision. What do we always say? If you're getting plus money, boys, don't get greedy. We got Dargan at plus money. You don't have to get, and this is moving forward. If you like a dog and you got a hunch, you got intuition, whatever, you had a dream. Some of the boys in the Discord, they have dreams about these fights, and you got plus money. Don't pick it. Don't pick the outcome. Take the victory at plus money. So rest in peace, Heather said, because I took her decision, woke up this morning and couldn't believe she got the stoppage. But I appreciate you though, bro. The membership is worth every penny. It is worth every penny. We are a community that's growing. And rest in peace to the haters. He says, I learned just as much from you than you learned from me, man. So thank you. Connor Ben, I don't want to talk about him, but we could talk. He's fighting Regis Prograis. We got a lot of fights to cover. I don't want to waste time on that. Yeah, Vasquez. Is Vasquez on upset alert? Anybody thinking he's on upset alert? And this is a fight that's very interesting. This is the main event, Aguilar versus Lopez. I think this is Very interesting. This is the main event. You got the A side versus the B side. The young kid. This is the Aguiar's first 10 rounder. We'll get into this in depth. If you guys are a JSB insider, you would know my take on this. I already have it up in the Patreon, and you might be shocked who I'm taking. And that's my big ass head. All right, Instagram, we're done with you, and we could go to the book now. Let's see what we're doing. We got a sports bet, sports book. Okay. I'm gonna just pull the odds up. Add to stage, please. Who's calling me? All right, we're added to stage already. So let's zoom in a bit. You guys are tempting me to give you a breakdown on Jake Dodd versus Connor Quinn. These guys, one guy has 6 fights, the other guy has like a little bit more than that. I gave you guys my long parlay is live. I gave you guys a 2-leg method of victory. There's a fight outcome parlay that pays like plus 600. There's 2 dogs, and there's one other. Oh, and a UFC parlay. The UFC parlay is up. I love the UFC. The UFC parlay is a money line plus 550, and I still need to do a safety net parlay. The last one you boys are getting is a safety net parlay. I usually will put the safety net parlay earlier in the week. It's just that I'm waiting for a couple more fights to open up. The chat's popping. How do you get in the Discord? I joined on YouTube. I'll send you the link, CO. Boss Marv, we up. Let's chop it up about this last ticket. No diss. Well, I mean, it's a value play, PJ. It's a value play. Think about this. If you guys are new to the game and you're learning new and Pete, you know, I'm not. What I mean by this is Emanuel Navarrete, when he fights, what was the outcome of the last fight? So in that last fight against Charlie Suarez, the fight was stopped in the 8th round, okay? Due to a cut. When a fight is stopped after, and it becomes official, so after 4 rounds, anything before that, it's a no contest. But anything after that, they go to the cards, right? So the Suarez versus Navarrete fight, if it was a 10 or a 12 rounder, whatever it was stopped in the 8th due to a cut that they said was from a headbutt. So then it goes to the cards, and I had Nav winning at least 5 rounds, and so did the judges. So then he wins on the history books a technical decision. Within that hour of the sports books paying out, if you would have taken that fight to go the distance, even though Nav won a decision, a technical decision, you would have lost. Why? Because that fight ended early. So that's kind of my, and we know what happened, I think 72 hours after, maybe a little bit less than that. They rewound the tape and they realized that it was from a punch, and that, you know, if it was from a punch in the moment, Nav should have lost by doctor stoppage because the cut. But we know how that played out. That's my whole lean there. I could see, it's a value play. It's a value play, 100%. I didn't know you played the quarter game with the Mexican. You watched the live stream. Bro, I never even heard of the quarter game until I moved to Long Beach. And the boys were super aggressive. Dude, and then after, you know, I worked at Lapa Lapa for like 7 years. I got really good at it. It's basically like a timing, you know, I don't want to say, it's like a mix of hand-eye. It's like horseshoes, like, or bocce ball. You know, growing up, you know, half my family was from Italian. We would play this game called bocce. Kind of like lawn bowls in Australia, but with a quarter, like horseshoes, kind of. You listen to the yesterday's live stream. Johnny, I was able to get some good film study on Ruben Aguiar last night. He reminded me a lot of Diego Pacheco. Powerful looping shots. Here is my my hesitation on Aguiar. He's never fought a 10-rounder. All of his matchups, all of his knockouts are against guys in 4, 6, 8 rounders in Mexico. I'm leaning on the fact, Ranver, that I'm not buying into it. Also, in his opponent, Luis Lopez, he has 4 draws. Go look at some of just look at the scorecards on those draws. Sriracha, he's fought the better opponents. I think he's real live in this fight. I'm not. It's another value play here. I'm not gonna bet Ruben Aguiar on the money line at $1.42 on a Pro Box main event to get a 42% return when I don't believe in him. There's nothing in his resume that I've seen that he's made me believe in him. I think the knockout to win ratio is manufactured, and I think his opponents are manufactured. And when you look at the style, when you look at who Lopez has fought, his career, Corona, California. You know, I lived in Southern California. I talked about it yesterday on my live stream. Those boys in Corona, California. Corona is what they would consider the 909. Those 909ers, boy, those are tough dudes. It's like the high desert area. There ain't no beach in Corona. It sounds all nice. These are tough, tough people. So, you know, that with his sort of durable style, I think Luis Lopez is ultra live. Now, I'm not pushing against that. I just didn't get that on my books. I'm not getting any props on the Emilio Vargas fight. What's up, Swindler? Ben the Swindler. Breaking Bad be working. Salute. Yeah. Yeah. He does, man. I got time for Nick. I definitely got time for Nick. Been tapping live stream for 3 weeks. Come on, baby. I got to screenshot that one. Don't if you don't mind, I'll do you just fine. I can be your part-time lover. I'm gonna screenshot that because that's pretty dope. Yeah, we got to let everybody know, man. We're coming up. JSB Insiders. We up. What's your thoughts on sprinkling on Ron? Bro, I already sprinkled on Ron. Did I not share that with you guys? You put me on blast. I already sprinkled. I took Abel. I took Abel on the money line at plus 480. I thought I shared that. Ramos, he's starting to understand my style a little bit. I don't know how confident I'm not confident in Tamir Smalls. Look, I'm not, guys. Obviously, it's important that we win. We win more than we lose, obviously. We already know this statistically. And then if you would have asked me 6 months ago, my mindset would have been it's important that we win every bet. But there's some fallacy in that philosophy. Saying that it's important that we win every bet could put you in this sort of mindset of not taking risks. You know what I'm saying? I have found, in terms of the channel growing in the last, we'll say 8 weeks, in terms of the Discord growing in the last 8 weeks, I started the Patreon 8 weeks ago. A lot of that I feel has to do that we're taking more risks in terms of our film study and who we're betting on. So that being said, you know, the guys I know who make the most money out of gambling consistently aren't taking $1.26 favorites. You know what I'm saying? We hate losing. You know, that's why I do the long parlay, the safety parlay, because there's a little bit of something for everybody. If you know, the entertainment better, do a 10 leg, it's fun, money line, all favorites. And it looks good on paper when they hit. But, you know, the real value is finding the dog. The real value is the sharp money. That's where you know, time, you know, plus, you know, even plus anything plus value. I rarely will ever give you guys a ticket that's not plus money. So that should be spoken about. Look at all the tickets. Like every single ticket is plus money. I'll find value for you. It's hard for me to take Tamir Smalls at what, 32% return? Why not take a half unit and sprinkle it on Abel? You know what I'm saying? So I don't disagree with you here. High interest, my guy. What's up, high interest? Guys, wherever you are in the world, we're 25 minutes in. We're floating between 50 and 70 on the live. Could you like this? Could you subscribe? Come join the Discord. Hit the Patreon up. Hit our YouTube Insiders up. Somebody asked earlier, they joined on YouTube. How do they get into the Discord? Email me. My email is attached on my YouTube profile, JONNYSTOFKO@iCloud.com. I'll send you the link. Aguilar has had bad defense. I like Lopez straight right hand. Somebody mentioned. Hold up. Is that Eddie? Yeah. Locked that bad boy in yesterday. Let's go. Resendez is a good fighter as well. And Lopez handled being very dropped easily, very well. Consistently tags the body. Yeah, so one of my guys likes Luis Lopez for similar reasons. He says he likes Lopez's straight right hand, but he likes his durability and his body punching. When you look at the physique and the style of puncher Aguilar is, and look, we're just looking for leans here, right? Aguilar is a favorite. Lopez, I think I smashed Lopez at plus 220. Aguilar punches really tall, aggressive like this. Not, not here, but here. Somebody said he reminds him of Diego Pacheco. I can see that a little bit. I think that though, that style, that tall puncher, lean puncher, leaning is tailor made to get hit to the body. Blue collar, what's up, buddy? Blue collar, what's your pick this weekend, brother? What do you think of Mason Cartwright? I don't see it. I think Ben Fail, BBB, they call Big Ben. I like the how he's been brought up. Will Ben Phil ever become a world champion? I'm not saying he will. I like the mentorship and how he's been, with George Liddard. I was super blown away by George Liddard and George Liddard's style and that Jim George comes from. And it's, through me talking to Joe Stunner Boxing, he didn't give me a pick one way or the other. He just kind of led me to the direction of, he was like, check out Ben Phil, his sparring, who he spars with, who his stablemates are. So I think Ben and then mixed with Frank Warren and the Queensberry prop up and the promotions, that with the domestic UK cars, that's sort of like a narrative you got to pay attention to, is like who is the bigger promote. It's nothing's foolproof, but it's something that I use in my checks and balances of like who's the promotion's A side, who's being propped up by the promoter, what gym do they train at, etc. I think Ben Phil is a favorite for a reason. And I like him in this fight. I haven't overthought that. I think I put Ben Phil on a. Did I put him on the parlay? Yeah, I think sometimes I could be guilty of wasting a lot of time on domestic back and forths. And I wrote a message to the boys in the Discord and Patreon, and no, I haven't done a play on Ben Phil yet. That's interesting. Why haven't I done a play on Ben Phil? Maybe I didn't like the odds. I currently don't have action on the Phil fight, boys, just to let you know. I'm looking at, maybe it's because I didn't like the odds. Yeah, okay. Yeah, so full transparency, I think Ben's going to win. I don't have action on this yet. I'm probably gonna leave this fight alone. If it's Friday afternoon now at noon, literally at 11:59 a.m., and the fights the next level to our fights start tomorrow. If by this time I'm not gonna force any action on Ben Fail. I already got 6 tickets live and we hit 7. We already hit 1. So, but I do think Ben's going to win. I wouldn't even second guess that. I think Ben wins convincingly. I got to be honest with you. I like Ben Phil. Yeah, he's go to here. Let me show you something. You guys probably already know this. So what I like to do if I'm, if a guy doesn't have a big profile, if you're struggling to find, fight tape on them, or if you have fight tape and you just want that little extra edge on knowledge, we're all wired differently. For me, I'm a type of guy that, like, I'm looking in the nooks and crannies for an edge for who I'm putting my money on. I think you guys know that about me by now. I'm sending voice notes. I'm sending messages to coaches, etc. One of those systems, though, is I'll use Instagram, and I'll go to Instagram, and then I'll use the search bar here. Now, this isn't my personal profile, by the way. So if you're looking at who I'm following, you're judging me. This is an old podcast profile because I don't want to use my own personal interface. Just so you know. That's why you see my name right there on the left. This is my old podcast. Okay, so I'll use this search engine. And you could kind of like use it. Now that Ben Phil, because his last name is a very common name, it's not going to give us the best sort of thing. Let me just type Ben Phil boxer. Okay, so if you type in that search engine, this will come up. Ben Whitaker, Ben Whitaker, Ben Whitaker. A lot of Ben Whitaker. What else do we got here? 5,000 followers. That's in training camp. Right here. So this was the one where I went down a rabbit hole. I was like, oh shit. All right, he's aligning himself in his camp. And his dad's a pretty. It's his brother. He's a twin. So that's George Littard. It's like, all right, if it's a domestic fight and you got and I'm kind of like torn on it and I'm going half unit, I would use something like this, who he's aligning himself with, to kind of like help decide if I'm torn on it. But I see he's aligning himself with George Littard. George Littard's a goddamn savage. So Eddie says I'm torn on Cooper Ursu. I think I'm going to put fight to go the distance. That's one I'm not torn on, actually. I'm very high on Konstantin Ursu. I'm high on Konstantin Ursu. I like his strength and conditioning. I like his size. I like his physicality. I like that he's Russian. I mean, he represents the UK, but he's born and raised in Moldova. These motherfuckers are built different. So like when you, I don't know if you want to call. I don't know what that's called. Call me prejudice. I mean, if I gotta pick country versus country, and we got an Owen Cooper cat versus Konstantin Ursu cat, and they're fighting the UK, and the one dude has the Commonwealth title, but the one dude is from Moldova. Dude, I'm taking the Moldovan dude. That fool is a 5'11" southpaw. He could crack. I think he's more athletic. That's a fight I'm not questioning. I really like Ursu there. I even have. I'll show you that. I gave you guys a prop that I really like. I have action on the Ursu fight, so we'll play that real quick. Yeah, I sent some messages out to the boys in the UK, and I'm not the only one who likes Ursu. I think he got a little craft to him. I just think that Cooper's style is going to be a little bit too brave for what he possesses, and he's going to be a little bit too small for how he fights. And I think that how Ursu uses his range, his size, his power, and physicality, I think that's going to wear on Cooper. I'm hoping that Cooper is tough enough to last the distance, because I'll show you what I like in this fight. And this, I have action on this. I shared this with everybody. This is on and I put this up in the Patreon. Yeah, plus 120. I love this prop. So I have Constantine on points. Now, in terms of value play, I'm neither guy has a high knockout to win ratio, but I keep hearing, like, shout out to Paulie Malignaggi and Tommy Reno, and I just watched their breakdown. And, a lot of guys are saying that both guys have more power than what their record suggests. I don't think they do. I hope they don't. I think both guys are tougher than their record suggests. And that's where I'm leaning on Ursu on points at plus 120. I don't see Ursu stopping Cooper. So that's my play on that fight. It's the only play I have on Ursu versus Cooper. They don't appear on any parlay. This is a single full unit bet on my end. Just so you know. Because lately, over the last month, I've been getting a lot of questions about strategy of betting, and that's pretty new. You know, I never used to get questions on the strategy of betting about half unit, full unit sort of thing. So that's that. My God, man, I miss Mike Tyler. What's up, baby? Follow Mike Tyler, baby. Earl Bascombe. You know, one time you were on. I know you're. Don't get pissed if I get this wrong. I think Bahamas, right? Bohemian. The only I knew a fighter named Earl Bascombe from the Bahamas, and I watched him fight. I was doing tape on a guy for this weekend's fights, and he actually fought Earl. Oh, Earl actually fought against the kid who's fighting Abel Ramos. So Tamir Smalls fought Earl. But I thought of you because I was like, I think Mike Tyler might have roots to either the Bahamas or Bermuda, one of those two. Haven't been doing any research. Oh, put it this way, mate. Arturo Cardenas. What's up, Boxing Booth? Guys, if you guys are into health and fitness, if you're on Instagram, my man's a coach in New Zealand. Follow Boxing Booth on Instagram, and I like your content, bro. We need more coaches out there. One of my favorite quotes of all time. I don't know. I never talk about this, but growing up as a kid in the 90s, my favorite artist ever was Tupac Shakur. I never talk about it. And to this day, I listen to more of Tupac Shakur's interviews than I do his music. To be fair, like the Pac music I really was into was like the slow, Dear Mama, as I bail through the empty halls, breath stinking in my drawers, ring, 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 quiet, y'all, here come the call. So like the slower stuff. When he went out west and signed with Death Row, I mean, he had some bangers, but I liked East Coast Pac. But he had a quote when he was giving an interview with The Source, probably when he was like 22, and he was like, we don't need more rappers, we don't need more basketball players, we don't need more athletes, we don't need more actors, we need more teachers, we need more coaches, we need more people that think, we need more women. And it was like, every time I run across a profile who's in our sort of ecosystem that's a coach, I try to prop up. So follow Boxing Booth on the Grizz. Yeah, Arturo Cardenas, Robert Garcia guy, body puncher. He looked great in his last fight against Cesar Vaca. He really showed me how good he is and how good he's going to be in the Cesar Vaca fight. Because I was ringside to Cesar Vaca against Sam Goodman, and I was shocked how good Cesar Vaca was. Vaca was landing. Vaca cut Goodman. I think Vaca, Goodman will probably never admit to this, but I think that cut that Vaca landed in the 5th round against Goodman, and it could have probably been a knockdown, was the same one a month or two later when he's in camp that reopened that made him not get the Inoue fight, which is kind of crazy, which sucks. Ben Phil Ursu plus $2. Let's go. I like that. Now my play, we covered it. I told you I don't have Phil, but I like Phil to win. And my only play on the Ursu fight is him on points, which is a prop play. So do I think Callum Peters is a future champ? I have to revisit his tape and revisit what he looks like now. People have messaged. Do you, Kiza? Kiza? What do you think about Callum Peters? Callum Peters here in Toronto this weekend. He's fighting. Is this the kid from I always get mixed. Is he the Aussie? Yeah. I think Callum Peters is a dog, dude. I think Callum Peters is a dog, actually. Super aggressive, but he went back to the amateurs, didn't he? I was kind of shocked that he chose to do that. He went back. He's a pro, but he chose to compete, right, for the Commonwealth Games and then try to make the Olympics in this next turnaround, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, 5-0 pro, 5 knockouts. Hasn't fought. Dude, Cody Beacon, he stopped Cody Beacon at 6. I remember when Cody Beacon jumped on the domestic scene. The people don't know the Australian and New Zealand boxing, just Aussies and and Kiwis boxers, man, they really take their strength and conditioning very seriously. You see a lot of these guys in shape, and I remember the first time I saw Cody Beacon. I think he's a Queenslander. This would have been like 5 years ago. I'm like, damn, who is this dude? Just absolutely shredded, in shape. Had that little haircut part to the side. I was like, this dude's marketable. This guy could be a star. And Callum Peters was like, nope, that ain't happening. Who else is there? There's also a big puncher. big shoulders from I think he fights. I think he's from Perth. He might be Kiwi, but he looks white, big shoulders, shredded, undefeated. He's a stud too. There's some fun domestic guys down here, man. Hey Johnny, what do you recommend we find best boxing tape to study boxers and their fight skills? So it really depends, man. So if you're trying to watch fights, now if you watch it, for me, I rarely will ever have to watch too much tape on fighters who are like former champions because I've watched their whole career. So I have a good sort of understanding of where their career is, where it's gone, where it's been, etc. Now, domestically, or guys who aren't on the world level, I do good old fashioned knocking on doors, YouTube and Instagram. And from there, if I don't sweat too much though. I know I meet some guys who are content creators and they're like, dude, if I can't find tape on somebody, I'm not betting on them. I'm not like that. Like it doesn't bother me too much if I don't find tape on somebody. It doesn't mean I won't bet on them. There's other factors that I could find. There's other ways maybe it goes back to me being an interviewer, a writer, an author, is that, you have systems when you're, interviewing people, you have systems when you're, right, investigation. So it's not just fight tape. Fight tape's important, but it's not I know guys who are professional gamblers who don't watch any tape. I know they don't watch any tape. I know guys that you guys would be shocked with who have bigger profiles than I do that are famous retired buyers who don't watch tape. So tape it just depends on your personality. You could get a good read on a guy without watching tape. That's for real. You just really have to know your shit and understand the sport. You have to know what matchmaking. You have to know the guys I know who are successful who don't watch tape. They're very smart when it comes to promotional companies, when it comes to A side, B sides, when it comes to who's traveling, who isn't, when it comes to odds, when it comes to leans, when it comes to statistics and averages and stuff like that. I try to be well rounded, but when it comes to finding video, man, YouTube, Instagram, that's always worked for me. Magic Kush in the house. Haven't seen Magic Kush tapping in. The Moldovan monster, he said he's been knocking all of his sparring partners out. With the way Cooper fights, I think someone's getting stopped. Yeah, I like his fan friendlies. Yeah, I know. He's talking about Ursu versus Cooper. Yeah, Tamir Smalls. Yeah. Yeah. Bermuda. All right. Which is even smaller. Bermuda's so tiny. It's wild that Nicky Bascom. My boy got the Patreon, but he can't get in the Discord. If you're in the Patreon, you should be in the Discord, big baby. His real name is Nicky Bascom Boxer. His name is Earl, and he took that fight unprepared. Yeah, like I've covered Nicky on the show before. Like 2 years ago, I think it might have been the Tamir Smalls fight, and I couldn't find any tape on him though. It was really it was really hard to find tape on Bascom, but he's like a star in Bermuda. He's like a hero there. I mean, dude, Bermuda, the tropics. Like, could you imagine choosing a fight coming out of Bermuda? Like, I'm from Bermuda. I'm just trying to sit and blaze one, drink some margaritas, maybe some rum, like a dark rum with some pineapple juice. Who's a rapper? You guys ever hear of Caribou Lou? Give me some 151 Malibu and pineapple. Yeah. So 151 rum. This is, 90s kids. We were all effed up. 151 rum, pineapple juice, and some Malibu coconut rum. I think it was called a Caribou Lou. Emma, for Emma, forever ago. Remember, I was meant to fight Mason Cartwright last year. I think they're going to use me as a test teammate. Would you have beat him, Mike? Serious question, because Mike crafty. Mike, I know you're going to say you would have won. All right, Mike, who wins, Mason or Fail? If I go to a boxing fight for the first time, do I need ringside to make it worthwhile? I was thinking going to Lester Martinez. The closer, the better. Look, I have so my girlfriend. We've been together almost 10 years. I hate titles. You know, neither one of us believe in marriage. She's my wife, but we don't need to get the government involved, right? So we have a saying when we travel. When we travel, when we go out to eat, life is too short. This is just between her and I. You know, we work hard. We work hard for our money. It's like life is too short to stay at cheap hotels, to drink cheap wine, and to eat cheap food. Those are our three rules when we travel. So we're bougie when we travel. We stay at fucking the nicest places, eating the nicest food, drinking the nicest wine, right? By choice. I go to all the boxing fights by myself, usually. My girl doesn't like combat sports. It works perfectly. When I go to the fights, I sit as close as I can. It's the same. Life's too short to sit far. So, like, if you're gonna plan to go and you prepare to go, and you set everything up, whatever your means are to get there to do it, save a little extra. The better, the better the seat, the better. Like the closer the seat, the better. Trust me on that. Kira Russian, damn, you guys are beasts. Man, we got it. I love how smart our chat is. Kira Russian, you knew exactly who I was talking about. I really like watching him. He kind of like Matias with better defense, but still hittable. He's at 160. I think he could be champ. Only Callum. Callum's tough, man. Boxing booth, yeah. Kira Russian. There's the domestic people sleep on the domestic scene down here in Australia, boy, and New Zealand. These boys, there's some good talent. Let 333 says, good looking Johnny on the inside info last night. I hit, but was hella mad I didn't bet more. Truly the go. Ah, thank you, brother. That that comment though, man, isn't that always the case, boys? There's a term in psychology about this. It might be a statistical equation term, the law of averages. But with psychology, predictability and emotions and outcomes. I'll think of the word. But when we're betting, whenever we hit, we're always like, it's kind of like we have this deterrence to never be satisfied. I didn't bet. I was hella mad. I didn't bet more. Yeah, because we won, brother. We won. But like, if we would have lost, so what I would then do in this moment is challenge you to be grateful for all of our wins, whether big or small, and even a no bet, because a win, no matter how big or small it is, and even a no bet is still not a loss. So rather than focusing on the abundance side or the scarcity side, focus on the abundance side. So the law of abundance that's what I was thinking of. The law of abundance rather than law of scarcity. We're up. We won. I mean, what is more anyway? Because if you had more, you'd want more anyway. So we need to focus in life with being grateful for everything around us. It's all a gift. Life is play. Oh, you're Jerry Drillum? You're Jerry. How the hell would I ever put those two together, Kush? My name is Jerry. I just saw, yeah, I see you all the time in the Discord. I'm out here lurking. Well, keep it lurking. Magic Kush, I'm thinking about smoke, back in the day when I used to smoke green. That purple. This guy, Emiliano Vargas, is, you think he's really bad? The guy, Emiliano Vargas, is really bad. I played a knockdown prop with Ryan last week. I'm salty because I played a knockdown prop with Ryan too last week. But I also took, I'm not going to, yeah. That Ryan Garcia fight, that was I did +2 knockdowns and I only got one. When the first one happened in 30 seconds, I'm like, and then I found out a lot of you boys who bet on Ryan were betting on Ryan by knockout. That, I mean, that had a, betting's tough, boys. It's tough. We're not only picking winners. Whenever you're finding value, you're then flipping another coin to see how it's going to end. And then Ryan looked great against Mario, right? But in a way, hear me out on this. For all my hesitation on not betting on Mario, why I bet on, or not betting on Ryan, and why I bet on Mario, even though Ryan looked amazing, and if I misspoke earlier, I meant Ryan looked amazing. Ryan fought really well. Ryan won every moment of every round. But in him doing so and not being more aggressive and not going for the knockout actually made my point on why I didn't bet on him and why I'd rather risk my money on him losing. Because imagine if you would have bet on Ryan to win by knockout, and in the first 30 seconds he drops Mario, and then the rest of the fight you just see him doing this sort of like winning rounds, not being aggressive, not really going for it. You would be left in the same position I was left in, even though I picked Mario to win, and your fighter won and my fighter lost. You see what I'm saying? It's a difficult thing what we do. Randall Light, I'm late here, but I put my like. Can we get some likes, guys? Friday afternoon, 12:20 p.m. I'll stay on a little bit longer. This is fun. We're floating between 50 and 80. It's going like 50, 58, 68, 55, 70, that sort of thing. Wherever you are, like the video, hit subscribe. Let me know how you're doing. Best boxer the last 15 years that went under the radar. I mean, wouldn't it be safe to say, though, up until, I don't think it would be too controversial to say, up into the Errol Spence Jr. fight, a lot of people, I mean, Bud was flying under the radar, man. I mean, the True Blues knew him. I mean, he got top ranked, shelved him for a while. For the longest time, he was only, if he wasn't selling out Omaha, he wasn't doing any other shows. He had to go, he had to be the road warrior. He had to go to the UK to fight Ricky Burns. He had to go over there multiple times. Like, in a way, dude, he had to, politic to get the Errol Spence Jr. fight. He had to come up from 35 to 40 to 47. And if you just joined boxing in July of 2023, you would think Terence Crawford was always a superstar. But I mean, I think there's an argument that he flew under the radar unceremoniously. You know what I'm saying? So, I mean, I've followed his whole career since jump. I mean, he took the not Thomas Delorme, Adorno. It was either Thomas Delorme. He took one of his fights when he was fighting at 35. It was on ESPN Friday Night Fights. I think he took it on like 3 weeks' notice when he was like, I don't know, maybe 14-0. It was either Thomas Delorme. I could pull it up. I don't like using the internet though. I mean, this is a guy who had to take. Nobody gave him anything. He had to work for everything. So in a way, he wasn't given any gifts. I always look for middle seats, whether it's far or not. That's how I look for my boxing tickets. Nice. Ben Phil is live to get a stoppage here. Mason is punch drunk and has time. Okay, guys, Mike is a boxer. He's in his prime. He was matched up last year with Mason Cartwright. If you guys had any questions on Ben Phil versus Mason Cartwright, 53 minutes into the JSB live stream, you're getting a JSB insider right here who's a professional fighter who lives in the UK telling you Ben Phil is live to get a stoppage here. Mason is punch drunk and has signs of CTE. I've watched how he talks. He makes mistakes against southpaws, and a good southpaw can see them. The Phil brothers can hit. This is what I was told. That's great insights, Mike. That's great insights. I appreciate that. Hopefully you boys appreciate that. Bro. On that note, mate, I'm jumping on it. Let's see what Ben Phil by stoppage pays. Those are freaking great insights, mate. Ben Phil by stoppage plus 270. I might take that prop. I'm not going to do it on the live, but I'm going to just screenshot this so I have a timestamp of it. Thanks, Mike, for the insights. You're a beast. JSB Insiders, we up. Pro box fight coming to my hometown the 20th, right down the street from me. That's amazing. Where's that? That's in 2 days, right? Arlington. Are you in Texas? The ballpark at Arlington. King of Fitness, my guy Johnny. What's up, man? Appreciate you for all you do. I've been on a little heater of basketballs. Appreciate you, man. And King, man, when we first started the Discord in August, you were on fire. And then, like, I mean, that's the thing, man. It's ebbs and flows. And I think over time, I think the real talent or the real expertise in what we do comes in not how we deal with our wins, but how we deal with our losses. Because we're not going to win 100% of the time. It's how we deal with those losses, how we maneuver, how we make adjustments, how we deal with our own accountability with our losses. I once heard a guy, he was talking about that. He was like, anybody can be happy when life is good. He's like, it's easy to be happy. Put a fucking smile on your face. It's easy when you have money and everything's good. And he was like, but you know, how are you gonna act when life sucks? How are you gonna prepare? What are you gonna be like when life sucks? It's so true, man. That's how I'm like, this is why we must train our bodies, we must train our mind as men. We must keep like, dude, we got this vehicle, boys. We could keep this strong. We keep this strong, we keep this strong if you're able. You know, and how do we react during our losses? We should create systems for those losses as well. Even a loss is a gain for us because it's only making us lean. Yeah, yeah, man. I've made a lot of adjustments through my losses. 100%. Mine are like I always have to check my emotions. If you couldn't tell, like if you ever meet me in real life, this is exactly who I am. Like I'm a very competitive guy. I still play sports. I'll be 44 in April. I hate losing at street basketball. I hate losing at arm wrestling. I hate losing at paper football. Whatever it is, paper scissors rock. I'm out here competing. So losses are part of that. You know what I mean? Like if you put yourself in a position to win, you're also putting yourself in a position to lose. So it's important to understand how to do both. 4K to win 5K. Now this is just me, King. You said the money line, the Hawks. You said 2 games, 2 basketball games. Mate, I can't be down with NBA betting, man. I started the season. I was watching. I still pay attention. I'm a diehard Cavs fan. You guys know that I'm a Cleveland sports fan. I watch every Cavs game. I just don't talk about it. I watch every Cleveland Browns game. I watch every Cleveland Indians game. The Guardians. I'm a diehard Ohio State Buckeye fan. You know, I grew up in Northeast Ohio. I'm a diehard Cleveland sports fan. But the betting on basketball, man. I don't know, man. You have to worry about guys. I'm a prop better though. I'm not a money line better in NBA. Like I win my money betting on NBA doing props. Like will they score X amount of points? Will they have X amount of assists? Will they have X amount of rebounds? Um, but it's not my forte betting on the NBA. I'm just gonna be real with you. Just be happy you won. It's better to win than lose. Eddie, wise man. Focus on being grateful. Wise. We're wise. We're wise. We're wise. We're up. Boys, we up. Aguilar Delgado versus Lopez, Louis Friday. What do you think? I like Louis Lopez. I have action on the dog there. I got Louis Lopez at plus 210. I'm gonna take one more question. They love Eddie. They be loving Eddie, man. I gotta tell you what, man. Them hoes be loving Eddie. The dudes be everyone be loving Eddie. It's the name of my best friend, man. Do you know where Navarrete is? I thought he was. Why do I always think he's from Michoacan? I just talked about this. Damn, he's so fun to watch. Is Emmanuel Navarrete like one of the biggest star? It do people know him worldwide, right? Like he's a full-on superstar. San Juan Zotepec, Mexico. Um, let's see what it looks like on the map. Where's San Juan at? San Juan. It looks beautiful. Look, it's in Arizona. Mexico's not that big. No more than a 2-hour flight. He is, yeah. Huh, I thought I was right. He's from Michoacan, but resides in Mexico City. I love Mexico, guys. Like it's one of the things one of my biggest when I miss living in America, because I've been in Australia since 2013. When I go through those phases of missing home and missing my mom and my sisters and all my nieces and nephews, my aunts and uncles and all that good stuff, I always think about Mexico because when I lived in LA, Long Beach, Southern California, and in Vegas, we would always fly down to the Baja Peninsula, down by like Puerto Vallarta, even Rosarito Beach. We'd go fishing off the coast of Mexico. Uh, I've had a lot of good memories in Mexico. I love the culture, the people, the food, the weather. It's one of my favorite places in the world. And the media tries to like obviously dispel all that with the cartel talk and all that good stuff, which it does exist. And I'm not going to go to Juarez anytime soon. And I usually just stay around the coast to the southern part, the Baja. But man, it's one of my favorite places in the world. I love Mexico. So anyway, on that note, guys, we got fights tomorrow. I'll see you soon.